Dear students, welcome to this lecture. From this lecture onwards, you will be able to know the topics given under Unit 5. So, as part of Unit 5, the first topic is file models. So, this lecture will cover the file models. Before going to the topic of file models, I would like you to give the definition of file system. A file system will take care of all the file management activities. Those are organization of files, how to organize the files into directories, subdirectories, directories or folders. Okay, organization of the files, storing of different files, retrieving them and naming the files, sharing the files, and the protection of the files will be taken care by the file system. So a file system is a subsystem of an operating system. In an operating system, this file system is a subsystem and it will take care of all the file management activities. Okay, activities which are related to a file will be taken care by this file system. What are those activities means? Organization of files, storing of files, retrieval, naming, sharing and protection. We will do all these to our files. When we create a file, it organizes and we will store that file, it stores the data. When we want to retrieve that file, this file system will make us to read that file whatever we want. Like that, all these activities will be taken care by the file system. Next, file models. So different file systems. These file systems use different models of a file. So conceptual model is nothing but in a theoretical way. We can think of that there are different types of conceptual models for a file. And the most commonly used file modeling are structure and modifiability. How they are modifiable and structured. So based on this, the file models are categorized into two categories: unstructured and structured files, mutable and immutable files. Okay, they are divided under structure and its modifiability criteria. Depending upon these two criteria, file models are classified into these two types: unstructured and structured files, mutable and immutable files. We will see about these two types of files in detail. First one is unstructured file model. So in the name itself, it is indicating that it is not having a structure. Unstructured file model. So there is no substructure in this type of model, and this substructure is not known to the file server. The file server cannot interpret the sequence of bytes stored under this type of file. So it cannot interpret sequence of bytes. So it is given here as the contents of each file of the file system. It will appear in which manner? It will appear to the file server as uninterpreted sequence of bytes. It cannot interpret what the data is. Okay, that is unstructured file model. So the operating system is not interested in the information stored in the files. It cannot interpret it. So it is not interested in the information what is stored under this type of files. So the interpretation and meaning of a file and the structure of the data stored in these files are only related to application programs, means user related application programs will be there, no? In such a case, these are interpreted and all the meaning related to this type of files is depend upon the application programs. Examples of the operating system which uses this file structure is Unix and MS-DOS. These two operating system will use this type of file model, that is unstructured model. And the next classification in file models is structured model. So in this, the file appears to the file server as an ordered sequence of records. But here the file server not even interpret the sequence of bytes. But here the file server interprets it as a ordered sequence of records. So the records of different files of the same file system can be of different size. Means if we create any another file in this file system only, it can be of different size. Many types of files exist in a file system, but each will have its own properties, right? One may create a rich text format files, another one may create a small unit in that part of a file. Like that, a record is the smallest unit of a file, and that data can be accessed, and the file system can read or write operations on that particular set of records. If we consider a group of 10 students, there will be 10 records, and each that record is nothing but smallest unit of a file. All these 10 records will be kept as one file, and that record is nothing but the details of one student. You can think of like that, and the file system can read or write operations are carried out in that particular set of records. So we can perform reading operation, means whenever we want to retrieve data from that particular file, we will read sixth record or seventh record, whatever data recorded under that particular record number will be retrieved under read operation. And write means whenever there is an updations of mobile number or change of the city, in such a cases we need to write to the records. So in a file we will perform all these operations to a records. And then the structured files are again classified into two types: files with non-indexed records and files with indexed records. Let us see non-indexed records. So in this non-indexed records, these files are records, whatever we said, out of 10 records if we want to access fifth one, how that process will go in a non-indexed records means a file record is accessed by specifying its position within the file. Say for example, the fifth record from the beginning of the file, or we can also say the second record from the ending of the file, like that we have to say. But we have to know particularly how we organized the records in that particular file in order to retrieve the correct record. Otherwise, we may not get the exact record if we don't know the storage of records order. So in a non-indexed records, we won't have any values or the keys to retrieve. Just we need to specify the position of that record within a file. Okay. And in an indexed records means in structured files, in an indexed records, we will have one or more keys. These key fields help to address the specific record, and these key fields will specify the value of those key fields. So it allows indexed records and it maintains as a B tree. You may heard about this in binary tree in data structures like that. It will have the key values, and we can use any other suitable data structure, or simply we can use the hash table key values pairs we can maintain, and in this approach it is easy to locate the records quickly. Why? Because we are having index in a record. Also, if you maintain an index, or in a textbook, by looking into the index you will directly go to that particular page. You will not search uh, manually. Means with the help of the index number there will be a quick accessing of a record. If I have asked you to go to the sixth program, just you will look into your record in an index paper, from which page that sixth program will start. Like that, by looking that index number you are going. So there will be a quick accessing on the indexed records than non-indexed records. So most all the modern operating systems are using the unstructured file model. Why? Because sharing of files, and they all those files can be shared by different applications. Why? Because it is having no structure. So it can be used by different applications, and it is somewhat easy with the unstructured file structure. Okay, if we have any structured file model, we need to organize in that particular structure format only, otherwise some applications may not accept. So going with the unstructured file is much easy than structured file model. Okay, this is the reason. As the file has no structure, different applications can interpret the contents of a file in different ways. Whatever application is using, it can interpret those data in different formats. If we have a structure, we need to interpret it in that structured format only. Okay. So in addition to these data items, generally we will have an attribute. So generally an attribute is nothing but the information, the extra information it gives about is nothing but an attribute. It gives the information about the file here. Why? Because we are using attributes for a file. In HTML also you may observe attributes such as src source for an image tag. For an image, inserting an image, src acts as an attribute, means it is giving an extra information that where you can find the image, that location we are giving. So for that purpose we are using attributes. Here also in files we will use attributes which gives additional information about that file. So each attribute has a name and a value. Every attribute will have a name and value. What those attributes will give means who is the owner of that file and what is the file size. You if simply point the pointer on a file, it gives the size of that particular file and the date of creation, date of last modification, and who accessed that file last. Like that, it will give all the extra information about that file. So all these attributes are maintained, and these file attributes are maintained by the directory service, and they can be used by that directory service. As in a distributed operating system, these files are subject to different access controls than the file they describe. Means if the owner can give access permissions to read only, then that file can be useful by other different users to read only. They cannot have the permissions of writing the file, writing some content to a file and executing that file. Those permissions cannot be used by different users. So all those access permissions, date of creation, we can know from the typical attributes. So these are the examples of some attributes for a particular file. And the next type of file models is mutable and immutable files. So this one is depending upon the criteria of modifiability. Whatever the two types we have seen are depending upon the structure. Why? Because we have categorized the file models depending upon the structure and modifiability. Okay. Basically, the file models are categorized depending upon structure. On structure, the file models based on structure criteria are unstructured and structured model. But here on modifiability means we can change them or not. On that criteria, the category is mutable and immutable files. So here we are going with mutable and immutable files. So based on the criteria of modifiability, the files are classified into two types. These two types are mutable and immutable. Immutable means we cannot change. Mutable means we can change. That's it. So most operating systems are in use of about mutable file model. So this model, we can update the old contents, we can overwrite the old contents of a file, or we can produce new content. Like that, a file is represented as a single stored sequence, and that is altered by each update operation. We can alter, we can change the contents of the file by each update operation. But in an immutable files, we cannot modify once it has been created. Means we have created one file, we cannot change any data in that file, we cannot update that file. Just we can do with that file is, we can what modification we can do means we can delete it. That's it. Okay, such type of files are nothing but immutable files. Okay, in this model, a file cannot be modified once it has been created. After creation, we cannot modify the data except to be deleted. You can delete that file if you want, but we cannot do any modifications to that file. Any changes or updations are not accepted in such files. So the file versioning approach is normally used to implement the file updates. Means version 1, version 2, whatever is the earlier version, we will give the version numbers. Version 2 is there means file version 2 is there means version 1 is somewhat older than version 2. So we need to check the details in version 2. Why? Because some updations may happen from version 1 to version 2, like that. So the file versioning approach is used to implement the file updates in this type of files, and each file is represented by a history of immutable versions. So what we will do, we will maintain a separate file, a new version, we will maintain a separate file, that is a new version of the file is created each time a change is made to that file. Here we are updating it to the same file. In mutable files we are updating it to the same file, but here we are creating a new version of the file each time. Every time whenever we are going for an update, it will create a new version, and the changes are made to that file contents, and the old version means the one which we have created will be maintained unchanged. Okay, I hope you got this. File 1 is created whenever file 1 is an immutable file, I am thinking. So file 1 f1 is an immutable file. So whenever any modifications I want to do to this file 1, it creates a file 1 2.0 version like that. So file 1 2.0 is a modified version of f1, but still f1 will be maintained and f1 2.0 will be maintained, but f1 will not find the updations which are made in f1 2.0. Okay, all the file version updations will be maintained in this new version only. Old version will be maintained as unchanged. Okay, so generally if you see, this approach will take a lot of storage space. Why? Because we are maintaining the older version and newer versions. So the usage of storage space can be reduced by keeping only a record of the differences. Means instead of maintaining all the content, we will maintain only a record of the differences between the old and new versions. So CIDR file system use this immutable file model. CFS is using this immutable file model. So Gifford emphasized that he emphasized that sharing only immutable files is easy, and to support the consistent sharing means all the data shared with these types of files are consistent. Correct, they are correct. Why? Because they it is very much easier, and they will support the file caching and replication of data, replication of files, which we will discuss in our future classes. Replication means nothing but duplication of that files, and with the immutable file model, it eliminates the problems of keeping multiple copies of the file to be consistent. In order to access them it correctly, we need to maintain a file as consistent. But these type of files, immutable file model suffers from these two problems, that is uh, increased use of disk space. Generally we are maintaining several versions, so somewhat there will be an increase in the use of disk space, and increase the disk allocation activity will be two potential problems in using immutable file model. So some mechanism is used in order to prevent the disk space and filling form instantaneously. So the topics discussed in this lecture are file models, and depending upon the criteria of modeling the structure and modifiability, the file models are categorized into unstructured and structured files. On modifiability feature, mutable and immutable files we have discussed. I hope you all have understood these topics. Thank you.